Welcome to this explainer. Listen, if you're a focused learner looking to build real, lasting wealth, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're tackling this massive psychological trap, and it's one that specifically targets smart, ambitious people. You know the drill, right? Society constantly tells us we need to hustle, we gotta catch the next trend, and basically jump on every shiny new opportunity that flashes across our screens. But here's the totally fascinating reality. Intelligent, driven people often stay secretly broke precisely because of this exact mindset. We're gonna break down exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how you can escape it. Okay, let's dive into this. Picture this scenario for a second, and tell me if it hits a little too close to home. You've got a handful of half-finished side hustles, maybe a couple of abandoned investment accounts just sitting there gathering dust. And underpinning this whole shebang is this constant gnawing fear of missing out on the next big thing, the classic FOMO. You probably tell yourself you're just being entrepreneurial, right? Just diversifying and keeping your options open. But if any of this sounds like your current situation, well, we need to have a little chat. Because the reality is pretty tough to swallow. You aren't building a quiet fortune. You're actually digging a graveyard of potential. Delivering a little tough love here, but constantly chasing new trends and pivoting from idea to idea, that isn't true entrepreneurship. It's actively destroying your chances of building lasting wealth. Think about it. Every single time you start over, you literally reset your progress back to zero. You're working incredibly hard, no doubt about it, but you're just spinning your wheels in the dirt.
So let's look at Section 1, the speculator trap. Why intelligent people stay stuck. We absolutely have to identify the exact psychological archetype that's keeping so many of us completely stuck. Meet the speculator. This is someone who is constantly chasing hit after hit, hoping that the very next scheme is going to be their massive break. If you're stuck in this mindset, you're probably bouncing from a random crypto coin over to setting up a dropshipping store, and then suddenly you're day trading options. You're addicted to the thrill of a fresh start. But the problem is, you never actually stick with anything long enough to let the magic of time do the heavy lifting. You might think you're being this bold visionary, but honestly, this behavior is often just a disguised gambling addiction. Let's see how this actually plays out in the real world. Multimillionaire investor Cody Sanchez openly admits that this was exactly her problem in her 20s. She jumped from asset management to a fashion startup, over to consulting, and then right into another side hustle. She described it as bouncing around like a frog on a hot plate. She really thought she was building this incredibly diversified empire, but her resume just made it look like she couldn't hold down a job. And the result of all that frantic, terrified energy, she built absolutely nothing but a string of half-finished projects. Which brings us nicely to Section 2, the cost of movement, the mathematical destruction of your net worth. Let's look at the hard mathematical reality of this speculator mindset. -7%. And this brilliantly illustrates a massive study by researchers Barber and Odin. They tracked 66,000 individual investors over several years just to see who actually made money. And guess what? They found that the most active traders, the ones constantly jumping in and out of the market, trying to catch the next big trend, actually underperformed the overall market by nearly 7% per year. So who performed the absolute best? The least active investors. Literally the people who bought and did absolutely nothing. To put that into perspective, consider the stark contrast between two very different men. On the left, we have Ronald Read. He was a janitor, he drove a secondhand car, wore old flannel shirts. Yet, when he passed away at age 92, he absolutely shocked the world by leaving behind an $8 million fortune. How did he do it? He just quietly and patiently invested in boring blue-chip stocks for decades and never interrupted them. Now, on the right, we have Richard Fuscone, Harvard-educated investment banker living in a massive mansion. He made huge, flashy bets, traded purely on excitement, and he ended up losing absolutely everything to bankruptcy during the 2008 financial crisis. The speculator trades on excitement, but the true builder profits quietly from time. We have to stamp this lesson with the ultimate authority on wealth building. Warren Buffett famously said, "The first rule of compounding is to never interrupt it unnecessarily." When you jump from one side hustle to another, or you panic sell your index funds to buy a trendy stock, you're basically interrupting your own compounding. It's like chopping down a tree just as it's finally starting to grow roots. This takes us straight to Section 3, the graveyard list, confronting your psychological patterns. It's time to pivot from diagnosing the problem to an actual, concrete solution. We have to confront our past mistakes head-on. So I literally want you to grab a piece of paper and create your own graveyard list. Step 1, title the page Projects I Abandoned. Step 2, write down every single business idea, side hustle, investment, or opportunity you started and quit in the last 5 years. Seriously, be thorough here. Step 3, next to each item, write down the brutally honest reason why you quit. Did you just find something shinier? Did you get bored the second the initial excitement wore off? Or did it suddenly require, hard, unglamorous work? When you look at this completed list, you're going to realize something crazy. It's not a list of bad opportunities. It's a mirror showing you a very clear psychological pattern of distraction. I really want you to ask yourself a question and just let it sink in for a second. What if you had just stoically stuck with one of those abandoned projects for 2 solid years? Where would you be right now? Your graveyard list is packed with incredible potential. But here's the secret that nobody really wants to hear. Your bank account actually requires you to stick with something through that boring phase. Real wealth is generated in the monotonous execution of the basics, day after day. Let's move to our final section, Section 4, the 12-month contract, the ultimate cure for the speculator mindset. So, the crucial point is, you need to implement this 12-month commitment contract. Here's exactly how it works. Step 1, pick just one business, skill, or opportunity. It totally doesn't have to be the sexiest one, just one that is proven to make money. Step 2, write down a physical promise to yourself that you are going to commit to this specific path for exactly 12 months, no matter what happens. Step 3, sign it, date it, and put it right on your wall where you're going to see it every single day. And step 4, which is absolutely the hardest part, you must refuse all new opportunities. For the next entire year, if a new crypto coin drops or a friend pitches you this brilliant tech startup, you have to pass. You are legally bound by your own contract to say no. Because here's the absolute bottom line. Compounding only works if you stay in the game long enough to let it happen. You simply cannot build a quiet, invisible empire if you are constantly tearing up the foundation just to start over again. It is time to stop confusing frenetic movement with actual progress. True builders, they don't need the adrenaline rush of a new launch, right? They find deep, real satisfaction in watching their single, focused effort compound over time. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought today. Look back at that graveyard list you just learned how to make. Think about all those half-finished dreams sitting there. What is the one project from your graveyard list that you are going to pull out, dust off, and stoically commit to for the next 12 straight months? Pick one, sign the contract, and let time finally do the heavy lifting for you. Thanks for joining me in this explainer. Now go out there and start building.